Your bakery business will never grow if you're making these mistakes that I'm going to mention and discuss in this video. And so for your bakery business to grow, you need to stick to the end of this video, because I'm going to expose amazing tips that will blow your mind and boost your business. It will enable your business to grow. Now, the first tip is, if you continue with that driver that keep telling you stories concerning your business, instead of returns, he will take products out and return with stories. The boss failed brake, or he had an accident and hit a cow on the way, or one thing or the other, he had a flat tire, or they take his on credit and this and that. Instead of giving you returns, if you continue with that driver that gives you one excuse or the other every day, you should know that you are heading to bankruptcy, you are heading to destruction, and your bakery will definitely shut down. You will definitely stop the business. And so tomorrow morning, the first thing you should do is to fire that driver and look for a good driver. Look for a sincere driver, a driver that will have the business at heart. Take your time to look for a good driver. Don't hire a driver that has been in the business from one bakery to the other, sacked from this bakery, sacked from this business, sacked from this company. Don't hire those type of drivers. Instead, hire those that are less experienced, less exposed. Those people will do your business and take you from that lower level to a higher level. So don't continue with that driver that comes up with flimsy excuses in order to keep mining your business. The second tip is that you don't need all the ingredients in the world to make a good bread. You can actually make a good loaf of bread without egg. You can make a good loaf of bread without milk. You can make a good loaf of bread with less quantity of butter or margarine. You can make a good loaf of bread, by reducing some of the things you think. Without them, the bread will not come up well. I tell you, you can make a good loaf of bread without softener, without EDC or bread improver, dough conditioner. You can make good loaves of bread without all these things. You can make good loaf of bread with a little combination of yeast, sugar, and some oil and one or two other things. Your bread. So stop lavishing everything. You put this quantity of yeast, put this quantity of butter, put everything. You're wasting money. We don't run a commercial bakery that way. There are things you intentionally reduce in order to make more profit. That is why those that do not have the fear of God will stop, will try to add potassium bromate to improve, and those that know they are not conscious of health will try to add sweetener in order to reduce the cost of sugar. There are things you can actually reduce without implicating or causing harm to life, and your bread will still come up. So you don't need everything in this world to make good bread. There are things you can actually reduce in your recipe and your bread will still be okay. Let's look at number 3, and some bakers might hate me for saying this. Now, if you hire a baker that does not have the business at heart, a baker that cannot project, a baker that cannot calculate the salaries of everybody and the profit that the company is supposed to make and bake accordingly, a baker that does not, cannot project and look at it, today, if I bake 2 bags today that I do not do well, I need to up it to 4 bags. So that we'll be able to pay salary, we'll be able to produce. If last week production was 2-3 bags a day, this week let me push it to 4 bags and try to force those distributors and salespersons to go to work. Because once you are out, production is delayed. Once you are not around, they produce anyhow. If you have a baker like that, you don't have a baker, and your business cannot grow. And so you must look for that baker. That is why I encourage people to train a novice. You get a novice, train that novice, and infuse the desire, infuse the drive, infuse that, your vision, sell your vision into that novice, and that novice will give you results that you cannot imagine. Rather than going to get these bakers that claim to be experts and their eyes are still outside, you are paying them well, you are paying them good money, yet they are looking outside, yet they are sneaking out to go and service somewhere, they are sneaking out to go and do this or that. those people that cannot calculate your business along with you, those that cannot look at it and say, my master is not around, this is where I'm supposed to walk to. If you employ people that only work when you are around, if you're a baker, only work when you're around, if you're a baker is only serious whenever you're around, then you don't have a baker. That baker will disappoint you any day. That baker cannot give you what you want. That baker cannot, project and be able to up the game. I tell you the truth, that baker has nothing to offer in your bakery. Fire that baker and look for another person. I tell you the truth. So if you're maintaining that baker that is playing game, complaining, that baker that takes the salary before the month end, from the second week, he's already demanding for his money, demanding anyhow. That baker will loot you. That baker will sell some of the ingredients. If there are 10 eggs, he will use 2 and sell 8. So if you are managing a baker that is not reliable, your bakery business will never grow. This leads us to number 4. If your bread's aroma and the flavor, taste is not strong enough, beloved, you have not started. That is why we encourage people to carry out flavor experiment. What I mean is that you go to the market, gather some flavors, different flavors, up to 10. Come home and experiment. Try flavors, combinations of nutmeg and cinnamon, nutmeg and lemon, nutmeg and vanilla, nutmeg and milk, this one and this one. Combine like that. You will come up with a unique flavor that will improve the aroma of your bread and also affect the taste. That way, there are people that no matter the competition, there are persons that will focus only, they will eat only your bread. Their family will depend solely on your bakery until you get to that point where people can travel from afar just to come to buy bread from your bakery. Until you get to that point, you will never succeed in this business. So it's very simple. Work out your own flavor. Take time to do a research. Try different flavors. Don't just depend on vanilla. Don't just depend on milk flavor. If everybody is baking with vanilla and you come in, you open your bakery and you also key into vanilla, and then those other persons might have been in the business for a long time and they already have their customer base. You that is cracking in, how will you succeed with doing the same thing that your competitor is doing? And so you need to come up with a unique combination. I went to Owerri, and one of the bread they say the people love there is a bread that is their flavor is solely nutmeg. So that way, those people that love nutmeg, they buy that bread and they are making good money, because the manager told me that this is one of the bread we should try to imitate. I told them, no, we have to come up with a unique flavor that somehow we have the nutmeg, somehow we have a different thing. And so when they eat, they will be convinced that this one is better. Yes, I've been eating this, but this new one has something different. Let me give it a try again. Let me try again. Let me go. And before you know, 2-3 times, they keep coming. The secret of bakery business is if the customer buys your bread, if you're opportune for that person to buy your bread, you should be able to come back. Something should tell that customer to come back. The flavor, they should be addicted to your bread. Until your customers are addicted to your bread, you cannot make good money in bakery business. And then you think that some persons are using other means, spiritual means, or they are acquiring charms, to use. No, it's just the simple tips and secrets I'm sharing with you that we are using and succeeding in the business. Finally, Nigerians love stretchy and heavy loaf. And I don't think it's only Nigeria. Almost everyone, those that call me from Ghana, they ask, how will I bake a stretchy and heavy loaf? Those that call me from Canada, from America, from UK, from Australia, different parts of the world, they ask the same question. How will I make a stretchy and heavy loaf? And so if your bread is not stretchy, if your bread scatter after 2 days, you have not started. If your bread gets spoiled after 5 days, 4 days, you have not started. That means you should be able to produce bread that is very elastic and heavy. That way, when they raise the bread, it should be heavy and elastic. How do you get this? The elasticity, it comes from mixing. When you mix properly and the gluten is completely formed, that is when your bread will be elastic. Your dough, if your dough is elastic, your bread will be elastic. That is just the truth. Number two is if the baking temperature is too high, your bread cannot be elastic. In other words, you must master your oven and bake in a way that your bread must come up really nice, the optimum temperature. You don't just set the temperature because maybe I told you in most of my videos that baking temperature is between 180 to 220, and so you go and set your temperature like that without actually finding out if the oven heat, the heat inside the oven is actually that temperature, because most times the thermometer gives us different reading. It happens to me in Owerri and in other places I go. So what I do is that if it's the first time of using that oven, I encourage you to put your hand inside, feel the heat. If it is too tense, if the heat is too high, then you will feel it, because you know that it's too high, you will know. But if it is okay, you will feel it, you will know. So first thing I do is to put my hand inside, and by the intensity of the heat, I will know this is too high, my bread will burn, or this is too low. And then you set your temperature the way it will give you good loaf, and you smile. So your bread must be elastic. Now the elasticity I mentioned there, if you are mixing rather, and you are in a hurry, or you are using time only because someone told you that mixing time is between 15 minutes to 25 minutes, and you just stick to that. You don't know the brand that person used, you don't know the brand he used to calculate that time. Now those of you that bake based on percentage calculation, and so you mix all the ingredients, you did a percentage calculation and you follow those measurements. Most times the person that formulated that, what was the brand of flour, what was the brand of milk, what was the brand of yeast, and all the ingredients he used in mixing that gave him that calculation. That is it. So if you are using that calculation, and then in Nigeria the flour and everything we are using in Nigeria may be different from those in Canada or Ghana, and that is just the truth. And so you have to learn to study and know when your dough is okay, the mixing is enough, by looking at the signs that the dough itself will display. How will you know that? Now, while you start mixing and you might have added everything, all ingredients have been added, and at this point you're waiting to know whether the mixing is enough, the dough will display some signs. Number one, the elasticity. That means you have to pause the mixer, cut a little portion and stretch. Number two, it will gather around the spiral rod. If you're using a spiral mixer, it will gather around the spiral rod, forming a cone-like shape, and there will be segments around the dough. Now that alone will not tell you that it's okay. And then when you look at this elasticity, you see the smoothness. At that point you prime your dough. What do I mean by that? Sprinkle some little oil. Just sprinkle 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of oil on the dough, or you can rub margarine or butter on the dough and mix for the next 3 minutes again. Automatically it will change to a better, smooth, elastic and very soft dough. Now the last secret I will expose to you: if your dough is strong, your bread cannot be elastic. That is just the truth. And also if your dough, you always mix strong dough, you are leading to losses. Everything you are doing, there will be shortage, because the more water you add to the dough, the more loaves of bread you will have. So if you are mixing strong dough, that will lead to shortage of the number of loaves. So you should add more water. I'm not talking about making your dough to be watery or messy, but there is a consistency. There is the type of dough that will be very soft, and that will lead to a very soft bread also. Although there is a bread softener, there are other things that can actually sustain the softness of the bread. Thank you for watching. Please, if you need more training on bread, contact us and we'll do justice. We'll give you the best training. And if you want us to come and train your staffs, we are ready. If you want to come to our bakery, we are also ready to receive you and train you and give you the best to ensure that you succeed in your bakery business. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. Don't forget to click the like button. If what I've said will help you improve your bakery business, then click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Drop your comments, your own opinion, your own suggestions, your own ideas and experience. God bless you.